Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. You're here on the home of the slightly above average ship review. I think I've done a review of this aircraft carrier in the past. I'm going to do an updated one because it is about to be nerfed. We'll call this the last gasp of the unnerfed Ark Royal. And that's what we're playing with today. The Royal Navy Tier 5 premium aircraft carrier Ark Royal. Probably the most overpowered ship in the game right now. We've been warned by Wargaming. An intended nerf is coming up at the start of the next update. I guess we can only wait and see for the patch notes what that nerf will entail. And the patch notes will probably be released by community contributors and whatnot the same day this video comes out. So it'll be real interesting to see. Now, as a side note, I honestly believe in this game. I thought I was playing the Independence. So you're going to see some of my bomb dropping stuff, my AG bombs. I'm not really paying attention to this. And I'm kind of treating this like I'm in an Independence carrier instead of the Ark Royal. And you'll see that on the damage screen. We talk about the damage that's done. So honestly, I thought I was playing the Independence. And I only realized much later I was in the Ark Royal, even though it clearly says Ark Royal at the bottom of the screen. So we're just cranking out the dive bombers here, HE bombers. Really quickly while we're flying back there, Ark Royal was designed in 1934 to fit the restrictions of the Washington Naval Treaty. Completed in 1938, first ship where the hangars and flight deck were an integral part of the hull. 2 hangar deck levels designed to carry a large amount of aircraft. And allegedly, several carrier tactics were designed and refined on Ark Royal. Alright, so you're not going to really see it in this match, but the Ark Royal is a great aircraft carrier to target and take out destroyers, along with the Furious and any other Royal Navy aircraft carriers, because they have carpet bombs. And it is a lot easier to hit a destroyer when you're using carpet bombing. And yes, I know it should be obvious that I'm carpet bombing. I just wasn't paying attention to any of that. There, we carpet bomb the battleship, we set a fire, we're going to immediately loop right back around. The great thing about the carpet bombs, the HE bombs are kind of directional dependent in other aircraft carriers. With the Ark Royal, you've got this big circle that you can just drop right at the front of the ship. It'll sail through the carpet bombing area. And we set another fire on our way back to the ship. And the other thing that's really nice about the Ark Royal, because you have all those decks, you can carry more planes, and so your recharge rate of airplanes, if you are not facing a California or another ship at this tier with really good AA, you can get that recharge rate back up pretty high. And that is one of the keys to victory in an aircraft carrier, ensuring that your recharge rate is kept up and you're not permanently losing aircraft. And something I don't demonstrate in this video, but something you should think about, a tip, if you would, what little I know about playing aircraft carriers. If you are facing ships with a lot of good AA, like at Tier 7, if you were in a Tier 7 aircraft carrier, whose names I can't remember, like the Kaga or maybe the Lexington, or I want to say the Royal Navy's is maybe like Indomitable or something like that. You could pre-drop, and what I mean by that is you do a dry run with your first set of aircraft, and then they can't get shot down. You just go drop torpedoes in the middle of the ocean. Those planes go back to the carrier. They can't be shot down. And so that way you keep your recharge rate up because you're preventing 3 of your airplanes from being destroyed by the enemy AA. Here we're doing a torpedo drop. For some reason I thought torpedoes were the main weapon because I thought I was in the Independence. So this is just dumb. We're just flying around shooting torpedoes at everybody. Not to mention the Independence does not biplanes. The Independence planes have a really bright yellow wing that I talked about how I loved it so much in my video on the Independence. But anyway, There's a torpedo right up the butt of that ship. And we do get some flooding. And do we kill that guy? I guess not. Alright. More of the ferry swordfish back into the air. That's the... I want to say... I thought the Furious had the ferry Barracuda. Let me see if I can come up with some real info for you. But I swear that the regular Tier 5 aircraft carrier had different airplanes. So we'll go to the Furious. Sorry, Implacable was the name of the carrier at Tier 7. Yeah, so you're getting a better class of airplane here in the Ark Royal. You're getting the Tier 7 airplanes from Implacable, not the Tier 5 airplanes, which are the Ferry Barracuda on Furious. Here you can see I'm maneuvering around the island and all this good stuff. Just trying to keep myself alive. Really quickly, Ark Royal, blah, 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 some of the most active naval theaters of World War II. Involved in aerial U-boat kills. She was torpedoed by the submarine U-81 and sank the following day. Only one of her crew members was killed. They found several design flaws in the carrier, and they changed them in new carriers. The wreck was discovered in 2002, 1,000 meters under the water, and 30 nautical miles from Gibraltar. They don't say in what direction. Alright, so here you're going to see us taking on a destroyer in the Ark Royal. Again, I really recommend targeting these destroyers in the Royal Navy aircraft carriers. Also, the Tier 3 Russian carrier has a very similar drop circle for the HE bombs. So that is what you should do. At the very least, keep them spotted, but above all, try and damage them. Because these carpet bombs are a lot harder to dodge than those very directional HE bombs that drop other ships. Although he did manage to dodge that one there. Switching back to torpedoes really quickly, I think we've set 5 fires here in this match. And we have 7 torpedo strikes, 74 bomb hits, 5 fires. So that's not a great ratio, you know. But I honestly swear, I don't think I realized I was actually using the torpedoes until later. Alright, so you can see our team is very down on the scoreboard here. The enemy team has 5 ships remaining. We just have 2 ships remaining. So I'm going to show you the power of the Ark Royal here, folks. We have not yet begun to fight. Alright, here are some torpedoes at this battleship. I really like to look to see if they're going to hit or not. We get 3 torpedo strikes in a flood there. Wheeling our sortie or our flight around. We're going to go right back to the well here and go after this battleship again. It's a good idea to know what ships have good AA and to avoid them until the very end. 3 more torpedoes. As you can see, the rest of our airplanes are returning to the ship. Another flood and another 3 torpedo strikes. So we're starting to aggressively go after the enemy ships. Also, I'm trying to maneuver my carrier to stay behind island cover. We're up to 84,000 damage and ticking because we started a flood on that battleship, who is now shooting at me, and thankfully he didn't kill me right away. But I think he's going to die soon. And I can't count on him to die on his own. So we are going to go in here and try to finish him off. Looks like he stopped the flooding and tried to heal a little bit. So again, really just lining up these torpedo strikes, making sure they are going to do max damage, most contacts. And we are switching back to our ship immediately because we got danger close. We do finish off the battleship for our first kill. Alright, danger close. Here's the destroyer. Here is what these HE bombs are really designed to do. And we're going to line him up here as he has torpedoes in the water. We set 2 fires. That is a ton of damage. And it looks like he immediately put it out. But we've still got more HE bombs left to drop. Still have 2 drops left on this flight. So we're going to head over him. And again, we're just anticipating where he's going to go. That drop landed right on him and killed him. And all of a sudden, and his torpedoes all missed. So great job aiming the torpedoes. I think I actually had a predetermined set location, and I came to a stop, and he must have anticipated I was going to keep going, and of course I did not. So there's 2 kills. Now it is 2 versus 3. So we are right back out with a full flight of HE bombers. Here's another battleship, has about, I don't know, a third of his health left. My teammate finished off one of the enemy destroyers. So it's 2 versus 2 now. Again, we're going to line up where we think he's going to go. That was a great drop. But we do get 2 fires. We unlock the high caliber medal. And he's trying to cap our base, so I get a cap defended flag. Turn him back around. More HE bombers in on the target. And we're going to do our run here. A little bit better lined up. He's starting to turn away. And again, just putting the drop circle over where I think he's going to be. Another fire, 6 bomb hits, and another cap defended flag. And we're going to send the last 2 planes in and do one last bomb drop here. And this one's almost really perfectly lined up, as you can see, and we get our 3rd kill. We are now at 114,000 damage, and what was a 2 versus 5 is now a 2 versus 1. And the enemy ship is a Hugo, which doesn't have great AA. So I would really like my teammate not to try to poke the bear here. But it is what it is. We've got a big lead in points because my teammate's trying to cap the base. So now we're going to see me using these torpedo bombers or torpedo planes to kind of get some extra damage. I am still maneuvering my carrier. I want to keep him behind cover if I can. The Hugo looks like he's going to dodge all of those torpedoes. And I can't tell you how many times I've lined up a great torpedo shot, and then the battleship saw carrier planes coming in and moved to avoid them, and avoided all my torpedoes as well. We're going to let those torpedoes get all the way in on the target. 1, 2, 3 torpedo strikes, no flooding. So we're going to do this little dipsy doodle maneuver, which gives me just a little bit more room to line up my shot. You want to let this angle close up as much as you can, and we're going to get it all the way closed up and then accelerate into the target. And I find the British planes have really nice acceleration. So there's another 3 torpedoes on target. 1, 2, 3 torpedo strikes. And at this point, I'm going to try to do a drop here, but I have no belief that my plane is going to survive to actually get the torpedo off. And so we'll just fling it into the water with no hope of actually hitting. Real quick, let me go back to WoW's builds. Arc Royal damage record, 229,191. Base XP record, 4,184. If they nerf the ship, I honestly think they should reset the record, say that's not good anymore, because the ship can't do that anymore. Just one man's opinion. All right, Jaguar still in here trying to, I guess, tempt him around the side of the island so we can torp him. We're going to line him up for some HE bombs. And that wasn't a great drop, but we still do set a fire. I mean, it's going to be so terrible when they nerf this thing. It's really just easy mode. I think that was the name of my last video, Carrier Easy Mode. Moving back in for some more bomb drops here on Huga. Here come the torpedoes. We line up a much better shot. And we get another fire. Looks like 4 bomb hits. And I think the Huga escaped death, but we were tearing them up before the end of the match. All right, high caliber medal, 144,295 total damage. 20 torpedo strikes, 76 AG bomb hits, 12 fires, 3 big kills, and 5 cap defended flags. We ended up with 340,782 silver, 6458 ship XP, 6566 commander XP in the Ark Royal. And are we going to move on to the scoreboard? I can't imagine what I thought I was going to talk about. There we are at the top of the scoreboard, folks. 2378 base XP, 1 medal, 3 big kills, leading the way for our team. GG to the Jaguar, who also chipped in with 3 kills. But we are the best ship in this match. And I guess we're going to go to the port and take a look at it. Well, I don't know if I did this in my last review, but we'll do it again. Flight Control Mod 1, AA Guns Mod 2 to protect ourselves against the evil Russian aircraft carrier commanders who try to take you out right in the beginning. What do I think the nerfs to Ark Royal will be? Well, honestly, I think they're going to make the plane recharge rate slower. That's what I would do, because that's the benefit of this ship, is that you can crank out flight after flight after flight, especially in the beginning, and really pile up the attacks. May they reduce some of this damage or some of the fire chance you're seeing here on the screen? Sure, they might do that. I honestly just don't know. I don't really see them nerfing the secondary guns or the AA defense or the maneuverability. Maybe the concealment might take a little bit of a hit. Again, but I don't think that's a huge advantage for this carrier. I think they're going to reduce some of the stats you see on the screen. Maybe they should just put the Ferry Barracuda airplanes in here and still give it the same recharge rate that it currently has. So you'd have more planes than the Furious, but you would do less effective damage. That's just a guy who doesn't really know a lot about aircraft carriers spitballing a way to nerf this thing in an equitable manner. But that being said, I really have no idea. And the bottom line is you could get your money back if you own Ark Royal. I just don't think you should unless you got it and you've never played an aircraft carrier. If you have gotten this aircraft carrier and you want to play an aircraft carrier, my recommendation is to start with the Russian aircraft carriers first, because those ones are the hardest ones to master. That being said, as we look at the stats here, in terms of damage, that's my best damage game in Ark Royal. I think the Tier 3 Russian aircraft carrier is the easiest one to start with. That being said, I like the British aircraft carriers the best because they allow you to impact the enemy destroyers, and by killing them off, you're going to win the games for your team most of the time. Okay, it's just easier to hit with these guys right here. Here's the commander, Dennis Boyd. Base trait, reduce the air detectability range. We've got Ernest King and Jerzy Swirsky, because we aren't using concealment in the rest of the skill tree. No fly zone in row 1. One-way ticket in row 2. Out of sight in row 3. And burn baby burn in row 4. And then of course the vault as our legendary skill. I just have to say Stronghold is not a good choice in row 2 because you wouldn't want to be seen and you wouldn't want to take damage in the first place. That's why I'm using one-way ticket. So this aircraft carrier is all about the offense, folks. Even though it's being nerfed, I still think it's a good carrier to try out.